is you've got in your office, there's the candle on your left, I guess, and there's Mother Mary holding a bracelet or beads of some sort. And I have, when I walk my neighborhood and I see neighbors that have the statue, they might just have a statue of Mary, like in their, maybe in their garden. When I'm driving to the post office, I pass a house that has a full, like the garden seems like this was meant for a Mary altar. There's like nets over it so that the deer can't eat the flowers and stuff, you know. So I just, and I find I find myself, especially after having met you and had various conversations with you, you highly endorse the power of Mary, Mother Mary's consistency. You refer to her as the terror of demons.
I refer to her by many, many names, you know. I mean, some come more from the traditional Catholic conception and tradition, others from the more esoteric tradition, like the Lady of Sorrows, Blessed Mother, Untier of Knots, Terror of Demons, Cosmic Mary, Divine Mother. I mean, it's like, if you think about her as I do and so many do, as and the penultimate emanation of the universal mother, of the Sophia or the divine feminine, the divine part of the Godhead, then like Divine Mother in Indian tradition, Eastern tradition, it's like she of 1,000 names, right? She has many expressions and names. None of it's more important than the next. I don't think it's all her, you know, it's just whatever's on our heart as to how we think of her or conceptualize her.
Right. Yeah. Now let me just, I admit, I mean, I don't know why I feel the need to continue to caveat her, but I'm terribly ADHD spontaneously thinking about Ghostbusters, probably because I just watched it a couple of weeks ago, and it was like the Gozer thing. I mean, I was a little kid when I watched the movie the first time, but there was this idea of like choose the form. That's why I'm associated to it. Is it's like when Ray Stantz thinks about Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, it's like it's like choose the form of the destructor, right? It could come any way it wants. Choose it. And I'm just thinking of what you said about this entity, this being can take many forms. I remember the first time I was trying to wrap my head around it. I'm like, wait, Mother, I can't remember if it was with you or someone else. It was like, so is Mother Mary and Kuan Yin, are they two different beings? Are they the same being showing up in different ways? But my current understanding, related to what we're talking about right now, is that it's that loving presence, and it takes the form of whatever way you will not be scared by it, and that you will recognize it in service of being able to let down your arms and shields and stuff and let it do its work.
Absolutely. Yes. And sort of as a corollary to that, it's interesting to me how, especially since Mary kind of stepped forward in a big way, as I say, about 2 years ago, as kind of my like ever-present number one resource. Whereas prior to that, in the prior years since this all started, she would come in intermittently like other sources, no more or less frequent. Something changed about 2 years ago, and all of a sudden it was her every day. Not only her, often her and someone else that would come to work with us, with someone, but always Mary. I really think since then there's been maybe 1 or 2 sessions that I've conducted where there was not Mary. Mary was like, no, I'm just going to hang back, and Tara is going to come through today, which is another fascinating thing I've noticed just in the evolution of how I'm working with these sources. Is maybe we'll bookmark that. What was I trying to say? That Mary, I'll get feedback from my clients of their mind's eye experience, often in the work of her coming through in different forms or in different emanations. Like one quick example would be like a therapist out west who does this work intermittently, like on a consultation basis here and there. And when Mary comes through, I think it was the last time we did our work, she came through not in an unusual way until after a piece of work was done. Some, beautiful, just emotional alchemy. I don't remember if it was sort of parts based or not, but there was the sort of epilogue portion of this person's experience with Mary was Mary changing form, showing herself as what she called Mary to the client. This is me as wild woman, like it's the old funny kind of a nature boy, right? Right, nature girl, nature woman, wild woman, like crone energy, right? More from like pagan tradition or whatever. And she did that purposefully, not just for show,
Sure.
but to try to encourage my client who is trying to awaken that wild divine feminine spirit within herself. And Mary was saying, see, I'm that too. Most people did not know that about me, but I'm showing it to you because you are me and I am you. So bring it forth, girl. Right? Call it up, show it, express it.
I love that.
Yeah. So does that relate to what we're talking about?
It does. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it relates, because it's like, what's the conscious being on their growth path? What's the next knot to untie or whatever?
Yeah.
And so it's like, and we don't have to figure that out,
Thank God.
Like, yeah. It's just like, trust that, the higher knowing and the higher wisdom will show you. And so your anecdote, explains, or it connects to this idea of how the conscious mind interfaces with these presences, and how it shows up. I'm not so much confused by Kuan Yin and Mother Mary and that anymore. But what we were talking about was this, where I did want to come back to, and I know that you booked Mark something too. So if you want to talk about Tara, we could do that first.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, just to kind of, and my listeners are used to my open loops and loose ends that never get gotten back to. But the statue, the altar, like when I'm driving to the post office and I see this person cultivated this whole land, in the front yard, and I want a sculpture. I want, like, but why do I want it? It's not like, oh, that looks pretty. I'm like, no, there's something going on there. Is there protection? Is it that you see the sculpture, and just by seeing the sculpture, you're reminded, like on my trail run, I saw a turtle. Every time I see a turtle, I'm like, is today the need for the universe to be like, remember to go slow, Robin. here's the turtle. Slow down.
Slow and steady wins the race, right?
Yes. But so that's the thing, is I don't pretend to know my full motivations for wanting to get that, but I guess I just sort of, through trust in you, I say you because you're the most proximal and recent advocate, or for Mother Mary. And
all right, yeah.
And I got a Buddha head on my desk and a painting. Buddha's present, but not Mary so much. But I'm drawn to that. I'm like, but I don't want to be doing it for the wrong reason. Now I sound totally neurotic. Anyway, I'm curious what your thoughts are of, like, why someone goes to a garden center and gets a sculpture of Mary and creates an altar on their property.
Yeah, well, good question.
You don't have to have the answers. I'm throwing that out there because you interact with her so often.
Right. I suspect it's different for everyone. I never would have thought I'd be someone with Mary statues, but in my townhome now I have 2 of them out there, which only makes sense for me because she's like my right-hand woman. So why would I not emblemize her? Is that a word?
Yeah.
In some way. I'll tell you a funny anecdote about how I found the first one. A client of mine who we were doing a lot of work, also with Mary, who was as they call it, a cradle Catholic. I learned that term through a podcast recently. So she was born Catholic, raised in that tradition, and then just never kind of connected to it. So she wouldn't identify as Catholic in the organized proper sense now, but was very open to the inclusion of Mary and whoever else in the work we were doing on the recommendation of a friend of hers who works with me. So trying to get to the point here, This lady came in one day and said, "Oh, I found this nursery about a half an hour from here that they have a yard full of lawn Marys, as she called it. And I just thought I should let you know that." Never before had I had the thought of, oh, I should get one because I work with Mary. Never crossed my mind. But I made a point to get out to that nursery. And I went to look in that section. I asked the girl, where are the lawn Marys? And she goes, oh, out there. So I got out there, and all I'm seeing is ones that didn't connect. They're either too gigantic or too tiny. I wasn't finding the Goldilocks principle in there, right? So I wander into the horticultural tent, and I'm looking at the other things they have. I found a little dachshund statue, and since we just got a dachshund, I bought that. Mm-hmm. And I decided to go back out and look again. I look around again. I don't see anything, and I figure, all right, maybe today's just not the day, or this isn't the place. I literally start to walk toward the register to pay for the dachshund statue, and something's stopping me. And I just knew, go back. So I go back and do another once around more thoroughly, and I walk back deeper into this section. I'm almost at the road. And what do I see? But the perfect size Mary laying on her back. Mm. So if I wasn't nudged to go look, I would not have found her. And as soon as I picked her up, I knew that was the one I was meant to go get. Mm-hmm. So I bought it. And there was some other funny piece about it. Oh, what was it? I missed this. So when I got there and I was asking the girl who worked there, I haven't thought about this since, some fuzzy on it, where the lawn Marys were, and she told me, and I said, thanks so much. And I'm walking away. I heard her say something like, you got it, Chris, something like that. And it stopped me, and I just kept walking confused, but I'm convinced I heard her say that.
Yeah.
I didn't turn around and ask her. I went and about my business doing what I just described.
Right.
But when I went to pay for the things, she wasn't there, checked out with another girl. And as I'm wrapping it up, she comes back into my periphery. And I said, hey, do you have a second? And she goes, yeah. I said, do you remember when I came in and asked you where the lawn Marys were? And she goes, yeah. I said, call me crazy, but when I was walking away, after I said thank you, I could swear I heard you say, you got it, Chris. And she goes, I thought I said, yes, sir. Mm-hmm. I said, well, maybe you did, but that's not what I heard. Go figure. Right. My name is Chris.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See, when I hear, I really appreciate you sharing that, because when I hear stories like that, mm-hmm. nowadays, I'm thoroughly convinced that whether the outside being actually said it or not, and good for you, by the way, for like wanting to go verify or go check.
Yeah.
I'm much more open to the communications come through, and it doesn't matter if anyone else knows whether they happened or not.
Exactly.
Because it's about their impact, and the like that the interaction happened is puts us more in alignment.
Totally. And if those are at least sometimes sort of God winks, right, or God's ways of remaining anonymous, letting you know she is there, but remaining anonymous, I'm all for it. I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, and I think also your story maybe, I don't know, illustrates the deeply personal nature. So it's kind of like not a trap, but an impossible question. Like when I say, like, why do people get these things? They probably all have their own purpose, which is deeply meaningful for them, which is not necessarily helpful to me or anyone listening to this conversation, because it's going to be personal for them if something like that happens for them.
Totally.
If they're drawn to it.
Completely. Yeah. And if it's like a metaphysical happening, I think as soon as we start to ask a question that begins with the word why, we're wise to remember that we're not going to get an answer to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The unanswerable.
Right. I'm associating to the more useful question is how, in terms of
Yeah.
just how to navigate the choosing the next right step right now.
Totally. Or how to try to understand this, or what meaning is this having for me?
Mm-hmm.
Or might I seek for in this event or whatever.
Right. To honor the part of me that's like, that I maybe affectionately called neurotic, like that part is like, so if we get a Mary statue and put it in our garden,
Mm.
negative energies will be less likely to affect the proximity in this, right? Like, so it's like
Mhm.
the part is like, you know, bring her in to positively change my
Yeah.
family's, how negativity impacts my family, you know, and that's the part's like, we don't need evidence, we just like, that's the part's intention or motivation for going to the garden center.
Sure. Why not?
I remain
Yeah.
in the humble, mystified place that I'm not, but I'm also not rejecting it. If I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. I think, what would we call that? Ontological agnosticism is perfectly okay, I think,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
there's still openness to experience in that. And I think hopefully a humble embracing of just how little we know and can be known.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. And I think there is a tension in my own mind and heart between, I remember the first, when we probably talked about this a little, at least I assume, the first time he came on the show, when I retrieved in the IFS terms, retrieved my first exiled young boy. He was 8 years old. I was
Mm.
working with Bob Falconer, and when he came, the 8-year-old came home. He came back. I got his gifts, and the gifts were forgiveness, and they were openness, like very open-minded. There were others, but like one of the most impactful gifts that he brought is now being open to so much more phenomena.
Love it. Right.
And so there's this tension between
Yeah.
uh being, because I'm now more open to it, I'm encountering a lot more of that stuff, and I'm also like seeking it out because I'm open to it.
Right.
And so there's the tension of, yes, the part that is not self-conscious about being arrogant, and it's like, oh, now we have that figured out. Ooh, you know, mark
Yeah.
our scavenger hunt card. Got it. Now I know that. And then it keeps good. So that part just keeps us like, all right, we're going to listen to what she has to say. All right, got it. And so,
Got
but
it.
the stuff that my mind never would have been open to, you know, I would have been dismissive of it.
Right.
So there's that tension between the like wanting to know with certainty and the humility of,
Yeah.
I'm Robin, you are a human being right now, so you can continue on the journey as much as you want, but like,
Yes.
dude, you've got eternity for all the learning and growing. So just goes back to that kind of trust that what you are supposed to know right now is what you're supposed to know, you know.
Yeah, totally. And I love that you brought up that example from the IFS world and model and work of which is not so talked about, I don't think, the way you put it. The gifts of a young vulnerable part once that part is healed and retrieved. So it's like the way you put that it struck me like that young boy part helped you internalize his sense of awe, that innocent, young, innocent sense of awe and wonder, which I think we all come in loaded with, right?
Correct.
And then culture and pain and everything else starts to, evaporate it or override it,
That's right.
discount, etc. So how wonderful, especially if you're otherwise feel that your soul is wanting you to expand into the possibilities of what can be and what is in this mystical world.
Yeah,
You need that. You needed to recapture that, right?
absolutely. And to your point that we come loaded in with it, I kind of, that's what it seems to be. That's what it seems to be the case
Mm.
and like, I don't know if I've talked with you about this. I think I've talked on air about it, but like, the prominent atheists, that skepticism Yeah, if we assume that we all come into the earth plane with that openness, we're fully loaded, and then it gets taken from us, or we experiences happen, they're so painful, and then they're like, well, then therefore obviously God's not real, or whatever. Like I've come to like observe in Sam Harris, I don't know about Richard Dawkins' story, Robert Sapolsky, like I also don't know about Neil deGrasse Tyson's story, but like I'm curious about how the prominent kind of the pop culture atheists that a lot of people know about, how they came to their atheism, you know, like what they experienced that separated them, whether they were younger. So I like when I have that, I don't know, I would call it a container if you want, just that sort of intuition of, okay, yeah, that's how I became an atheist, and it took years and years and years, and then I came back, like that was, no, I no longer identify that way. And so understanding why that happened, both why it went one direction and how it came back and returned, and then hearing other people talk and hearing like their childhood and what happened and why it makes sense to me that they you know, essentially adopted that belief, like, oh, well then of course God can't be possible, you know. And I know what I'm saying is super vague right now. I'm not giving concrete examples, but
no, I understand. I follow. Yeah.
It's I guess I just want to co-sign that nature of we come in with it, and then somehow there's this divine separation, or what some people have called separation sickness. It's like when you there's so much peace that comes when we remember that we're already safe and we're already cared for.
Totally.
You know?
Absolutely. And that we are a spark of the divine. There's no separation. But, you know, that to some, that's a, you know, ungrounded, you know, flighty, mystical view. But hey, sorry, that's mine. That's what feels true to me. So
yeah. There's two pathways emerging in front of me, which is one, I don't know if I've ever, let me ask this first, I guess, because it's going to be easy to go on down the second path. Are you familiar with Dolores Cannon's work? Have we talked about her work at all?
Yeah, I think you and I had some references through emails to her. I am familiar. I haven't read her books or really deep dived her work, but I know enough about where she's coming from that I wouldn't be lost in touching on her. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my journey into past life phenomena, I think, came through Brian Weiss's books. And I wish I had recorded like who told me about him. I don't know. Right. So it's just like Brian Weiss links. Like I have this list of like books that I want to get around to eventually, as a lot of people have. And I'm like, who told me about this anyway? But reading his books really opened me up to past life phenomenon. Now, and what's so funny is now that I'm open to that, of course, this is showing up in the work that I do. So when of course we're right on time. Yes. So when clients go there, you know, if clients had brought that stuff to me in 2015 or so, I would have been like, okay, you know, I would have stayed respectful, right? But like I wouldn't have been as comfortable and knowing how to navigate that as I am now. And anyway, with Dolores Cannon's work, there are certain things that I wanted to, Kelly, see, my wife, let me just say, my wife tells me, Robin, some of this stuff, should you really talk about it publicly? And I'm like, I have a Patreon. Maybe there's that like that paywall boundary of like, you know, talk about it there. Don't talk about it. But I have a part that likes getting in trouble. I don't know. But I probably, for sure, we all do.
That part of me likes that part of you, my friend.
Yeah. There's solidarity and brotherhood. So I guess, you know, obviously you trust yourself to answer this in whatever way is right for you. I was Bob Falconer's most recent book came out where he details his abuse as a child. He went through terrible sexual abuse. He published it back in the 90s under a pseudonym, and now he's kind of revised, a second edition coming out. And I'm reading that, And as I was reading something, and Bob talks openly about past life stuff.
Yeah.
But there's this notion in past life communities, I guess we could say, this belief, and I hold it lightly, but the belief that, you know, when we incarnate,
Yeah.
There's a soul contract, and we choose to have certain experiences.
Yeah.
And part of that is like a concrete example that people can maybe wrap their heads around, or something like if in a past life, like you murdered someone, your soul is to learn what you need to learn about that and why that's wrong. Your soul then says it's not punishment. The soul doesn't view it as punishment to choose a life in which then that soul experiences it on the other side and says, this is what it's like to be murdered.
Yeah.
Now that kind of talking about that can be taken very disrespectfully, and it can be
totally
very offensive to insinuate or imply that if something bad happened to someone, that they signed up for it or whatever.
Yeah,
so anyway,
exactly. It can sound like victim blaming, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, totally. Anyway, when I'm encountering that concept, I can understand it intellectually.
Yeah.
I myself have not done any past life regression. I plan on doing it later. I think we've talked about that through email as well.
Right.
But when I was reading Bob's book, in very, very early in the book, he was talking about how some people suggest this or subscribe to this belief that, you know, we choose to have these experiences.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's a poisonous belief to think that.
I don't believe that, but that's okay.
Yeah. So that's I guess I'm kind of naming that to wrestle what.
Yeah.
I'm holding that idea lightly.
Yeah.
And I feel this tension between people that I respect and admire and are farther along the spiritual enlightenment path. And so I think that's what I'm stumbling on, is like, oh, I can see how that would be. And yet so many people, not so many, the people that talk about this stuff or publish it are rejecting it. And so that's why I wanted to ask you. You've already answered my question. Where you're like, no, subscribe to that. But
so, you know, I don't know where Bob's coming from on his view or his position that is a poisonous belief. Without knowing that, I can only say, you know, I might apply that ancient idea of everything is medicine or poison depending on dose, how and why it's used. So might that apply here? Is it universally a poisonous belief? How so? I don't know. But that's probably informed by the fact that that just doesn't resonate with me. What resonates with me and has for a long time is that there is likely something about that we soul contract to embody. And maybe not just here. I've certainly had that touched on in many channel transmissions that have come through over these years. And sometimes that information is verified in the work with people. I don't know. Why would that not be? And if we did have contracted or otherwise, because I think there is free will, at least to some degree. So we come in through that sort of veil of forgetting of what we contracted for, but our higher self / soul always knows. So that's probably going to steer us, along with maybe guides and guardian angels and ancestors, towards nudging us towards those experiences that there's that knowing that we contracted for, so that we can have them and fulfill the highest aims of our soul for each embodiment. But we can often go off course. And if we had some experience like that, where we got taken down such a dark path, maybe addiction, one thing led to another, and we killed somebody, makes sense that when we go to the good place, if we're lucky to go there, the upper rooms or whatever, and we go through our own soul life review. I'm partial to that view too. And I think that's a Dolores Cannon supported view, that there's no judge judging us. It's we. So we have to reconcile. We have to understand. We have to feel the pain of those that we cause pain to. We have to find a way to forgive self and other. Then we can continue to soul grow and transcend. Getting off course here. So, but if all that
I don't think that you
okay.
are.
Yeah.
I don't think that you are.
If I'm tracking with all that, then why would it not be that if we found a place of deep understanding of the pain we've caused, deep regret, remorse, we have to find forgiveness. If we were going to re-embody again, if that were a choice or a must, who knows? Depends on who you ask. But if we were going to, for one way or another, why would we not choose to have the opposite experience, to have the polarity?
Right. See, right.
Right.
So, right.
Okay.
And so that's, and I'm not, yeah. And so I think I can even feel, as I was asking that question, I can feel
Yeah.
the energy in myself of that, the part that like wants the answers, right?
Yeah,
That wants to, right? That's the constant tension, is the,
yes.
just, it's okay to be uncertain. It's okay not to know. And that never, the ego
Yeah.
never shuts off about like, but we got to know. We want to know. Things will be easier if we know. Well, it's like all that stuff.
Why?
Anyway.
Why? Yeah, I know. It's the tension of the opposites. It's ever present, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what you said, by the way. You were in a conversation on a different show, and in here you talked about your own experience of a dark night of the soul, and you used the phrase like the soul's fine. I think about it now as a dark night of the ego or something.
Yeah, I've when I first encountered that concept, I don't know how long ago, I was like, yes, that's the little rub I've always had with that phrase. Not to take anything away from the history of that phrase, like St. John of the Cross and, half a lifetime of utter darkness and spiritual wilderness. Mine was nothing like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dark night of the soul. Yeah, I really have always felt like, yeah, the soul is fine.
Right.
It's the dark night of all the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
The dark night of our protective system buckling.
Yeah.
Under the pressure of like that we're growing and we have to shed.
Mm-hmm.
We have to shed energy, burdens, rigid roles, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
well,
dark night of the ego. Yeah.
Right. Well, let me return to this other pathway that was very clear to me, which is I want to ask you, and we talked a little bit about before recording, just, you came on, the first time you came on the show was early 2025, last year, I want to say. And I'm just curious, we're constantly growing. What's changed in the way that you work? And maybe tell people who, maybe they're not going to go back and listen to that episode. Tell people about the way that you work. You're on paper. If someone were to look you up, they'd learn that you're a social worker, you're a licensed social worker, clinical social worker, but also your website is Therapy Outside of the Box. So what exactly does that mean? So just please take the reins and run with it. But I also just know that I'm curious how you've changed since last time you came up.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'll try to go really bullet point here. So conventional talk therapy, psychodynamic for most of my career, 15 years or so. Around 2018, everything started to change after really a decade of intense stress, the result of many domains of my life. Really, I had to be kind of brought to my knees to realize that I was in another dark night. I mean, I had one in my 20s, but that was really more like grief, depression, anxiety. This was more multi-determined, let's say, this one. So around 2018, it started to really get real. And again, I'm just going to go bullet point of this. I just started to feel like I was touching into the edges of madness. And so once I realized that, I did what I knew to do on paper, which was completely surrender day in and day out. So I launched a surrender experiment, sitting, meditating, praying, walking in the woods as often, as intensely as I could, simply asking for clarity. What is this that I'm going through? What is it not? So I don't wind up doing something like getting a divorce or quitting my career, etc. So the clarity started to come, as did all sorts of kind of wild energetic phenomenon, not Kundalini, something that I didn't know what it was. My body would rock in this infinity formation. And then I was given this gift of holy discernment, which was how it was put to me, which was just like an intuitive gift with a very practical ability to get yes, no, true, false, which is akin to, like from hypnotherapy, audio motor signaling. That's kind of the mechanism, but the source was really Holy Spirit, and the source is divine, at least as far as I understand it. So that became very helpful in discerning what is going on. Is there someone with me from the spiritual realm? Who might that be? And that's when I began to realize that I was really entering into a kind of initiation. I was being slowly lifted up out of that darkness and being, in essence, welcomed home to the true and highest purpose of my soul for this embodiment. So again, I'm bullet pointing. I just kept going, kept trying to grease the wheel of those connections, of understanding who's with me, what are they doing. And so for the next year or so, it was like I was in this incubation chamber of just receiving healing, alchemical, divine, spiritual healing. Part of that was no doubt some critters that were in my field, although I was not so privy to that understanding at the time. But in retrospect, I know that to be true. And that helped make for a cleaner channel for sources like Mary to begin coming through. And so I just kept going with that and then experimenting with new ways of practicing, a little bit out with the old, keeping what was good about my traditional training and old models, shedding the rest and welcoming new information and ways of working out of shamanism, energy psychology, consciousness research, etc. At some point in there, it occurred to me, oh, this would be a good time to bring back IFS, which I had kind of abandoned when I was in that near 10-year, just kind of hyper stress, just getting through it, because I just didn't have enough self energy to really do that work. But once I started to reconnect, it occurred to me to go back there and bring that back into the fold, which I did. So at some point, I don't know, probably 2022-ish, somewhere in there, I started to get very strong nudges to begin. It's like, basically, it was like, it's now time to stop coveting this connection and start bringing it forth. That's the next step. You're ready. So I started to offer it to those clients of mine that I knew would be open to trying something weird and different. Didn't know what to call it. It was a trust fall, but with those who trusted me and were spiritually inclined, yes, let's go. So we would just enter into meditation. I would use the discernment to understand who would be coming through, and the rest is kind of history. So the other maybe essential thing about it is that I've been since then still in an initiation process with it, of being a kind of facilitator or vessel of this work to come through from the higher sources. I am in no way the doer. I'm just the vessel. But it's definitely the case that Mary and the other sources really seem to like the combination of applying multiplicity of mind, IFS as a map, with what they're coming in to do. It's like they're already trained in it. They know how to do it. Yeah. They're level 10,000. Let's put it that way, right? I'm level 0. This is all rogue for me, but so I've been in this interesting dance for a couple of years with, again, trying to think expansively, make space, and just get out of the freaking way. Use my intuition and experience. And I've been able in this last couple of years to work. It's pretty dialed in with Mary when she's with me. It's really just through this kind of movement. Quick, yes, no, maybe, hang on. Let me give it to me here. Nope, gonna hang back. You go ahead. So this is just a way of trying to illustrate how I'm organically and integratively using the map of IFS and multiplicity and other models like it, from TA and focusing and somatics, to see where the session itself wants to go, right? Like, as long as I'm working with someone that, if they have a specific intention, they've been struggling with a part of themselves, whatever, they really want that to be the focus, then that's where we're going to go. And even if we're inviting in higher sources, Mary's never going to override that. She'll always know what the intention is, and she'll kind of hang back and hold space. Unless more is going to be asked of her, then she'll come in and add her thing, whatever that might be. But if a person is coming in to do this sort of transcendental, transpersonal inner work, I don't even know what to call it anymore, multidimensional divine light transmission, because it's all integrating. And that's the kind of the evolution of it. It's just really becoming more one experience that can be so many different things, depending on the day and the person and what's needed most.
Right.
Maybe I'll just leave it there. That was a long explanation.
Yeah, no, and I'm following all of it, and I appreciate your answer. I want to follow up with a couple things here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you work with ketamine assisted psychotherapy?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Sometimes I will use AI as my co-pilot for like researching a guest.
Oh,
and AI gets it wrong. So
Yeah.
just know that Google Gemini was like, ask him about ketamine assisted psychotherapy because he works with it. Like,
oh, no, I do not. No. And there's a reason why I don't.
we can talk about that.
I've had a few people that have done it in the course of their work with me, with wildly mixed results. And again, a lot of that is everything is medicine or poison, depending on dose.
Yeah.
And how or why it's used, as well as, of course, predispositions, be they genetic or psychological.
Mm-hmm.
So basically why it's a hard no for me now is because I've realized that in this ketamine world, which is pretty recent, not that ketamine is recent,
Right.
but the world of it as using it for mental health treatment, it's like the freaking Wild West out there. There doesn't seem to be any regulation. There doesn't seem to be any like uniform training. And I had one very terrible experience with someone that while we were working together from a distance, decided to do it. I had my concerns, but it wasn't my call to say, I don't think you should.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get into all the specifics, very complex and complicated.
Sure.
But he decided to go to a local ketamine clinic. And long story short, this is one of these Wild West experiences where he determined afterwards that this doctor had no training in it whatsoever. It was like got the training out of a Cracker Jacks box, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And wound up administering ostensibly to save money because he didn't have a lot of funds to put into this. So wasn't going to be able to sign on to like the 6 sessions or a block of sessions, decided to administer 4 times the normal dose.
Mm.
And it sent this person into a acute and somewhat now chronic state of like derealization.
Mm.
Terrible. So, you know, anything can always go wrong with everything in the plant medicine world. It's not just ketamine.
Yeah.
But I just don't trust the ketamine complex out there. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah.
It
makes sense. Makes sense to me. Yeah. Everyone's I don't even know what the standard dose is, but and also like people metabolize the molecule differently. I can just be very brief. I can just say I took an intramuscular injection of ketamine in a IFS, like 6 IFS therapists retreat style, like held in like commercial office space by a facilitator, also IFS guy. So it was like it was IFS ketamine retreat. And the first time, not much happened at all. It was like lay down on the mat or lay down, like weighted blanket, vest. I mean, eye covers, noise canceling headphones, Johns Hopkins psychedelic playlist. And then it's just like a screensaver of visuals. And then I had to get up and go pee. The attending psych escorted me to the men's room in this commercial office space building, and I peed. And again, I'm curious. I'm like, okay, is there healing? Is there like bladder stuff? You know, I don't pretend to know like what was like. I was getting healing somehow, right? But it was I think it was like 0.75 milligrams. I think that was the dose. And then the second time maybe it was 75 milligrams. The second time I did it, I felt like I contacted the divine that
Really?
was, oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The reassurance of like, Robin, you are loved and held and safe. And it's like, it's all good, man. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, Robin, you and everyone you know, and like everyone in this Bethesda community, strangers and all worldwide and all realms, we're all good. It's all good. Like,
it's great.
And there was relief. There was tears of like relief and grief. And anyway, I was talking, and after the experience, it was so powerful. After the experience, I was talking in the group, and someone else was like, I wanted that experience. They were talking about what they had, and they were like, how come? And I was like, well, what was my dose? And they were like, you got the same dose. It was the same dose,
Yeah. It's person specific, right? State of mind specific. State of mind,
so many things. I agree with you about the Wild West, and that by no means is ketamine the only one that has its dangers. But
right.
Let me ask you this: Do you do subconscious heal and release? Is that something you do?
Yeah.
What is that? What is?
Yeah, it's basically an energy psychology method that I kind of culled together, and I just gave it that name. It started from training in a little method called Ask and Receive, which is just a beautiful, very spiritual way of healing through the higher self. So it's very IFS adjacent, I guess you would say. And it's about using the power of the spoken word. It's based on the idea that words can actually be healing, not any words, but the right words spoken in the right order with the right intention within a connection in which one feels safe and open. So it's a way to use this sort of set of statements, not super prescribed. There's ad-libbing and whatnot, but it's basically a format, a template, if you will, to use words to and to use muscle testing conventionally, although I just use the Holy Discernment Guidance to determine what particular subconscious deep mind limiting beliefs are serving as blocks or barriers to whatever someone's goal is. So it's very kind of functional, goal oriented. We start with a statement, right? That's positively framed, future present based, kind of like an affirmation would be. But instead of just prescribing an affirmation and saying, recite this 100,000 times a day, it's let's use muscle testing or some method to determine what specific trapped emotional energies. That's coming from emotion code. I borrowed that. Limiting beliefs or energetic trauma signatures, if you will. That's kind of what it's called in the energy psychology world. From any particular age, so we can get real specific, are blocking ones being fully aligned with believing in the statement that we created. So it's just a little bit of a gumbo of different techniques from a couple of different schools of thought and approaches that I just started intuitively pulling together without intending to do so. I was just using that ask and receive, and I kept being led to these other little things and putting it all together. So now I got a spicy gumbo, and I decided, well, that needs a name. So subconscious heal and release is it. So that's really at this point, back in 2019, 20, I was doing a ton of that. But then with all the rest of this, as it's taken off, that's kind of backseat, and I view it still as potent, but it's really something that's more of like an entrance way in for people that want to work with me, but they're not ready for the big weird stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Let's start with a little subconscious heal and release, get you in alignment. It's like a chiropractor before your psychic surgery, chiropractic adjustment, get you standing up straight, get your mobility going. And then if you're ready for the rest, we can go from there. But it's quick and dirty and potent to a degree.
Yeah.
It's not the deepest healing, but
no. I track. And it's so funny. I chuckled a couple times when you're talking about it as a gumbo, because it does feel like you're a chef in some senses. And even when you talk about like the different, as you learn skills, or like, I've never used ginger in that way. Let me, it's like, try that. And but the other metaphor that came was like the black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's like, you're a black belt, which means you can also get on the mat with a yellow belt. And like, you're not going to like dominate. You're gonna be like, well, you're a yellow belt. So like, I'll roll with you this way, and I'll show here's where you're comfortable. And so
I love that.
But like if they pass their test and they're like, I'm on to the next, I don't know what the next color is, but like, I'm open now. I'm open to the next lesson or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, since you're a black belt, you could be like,
Yeah.
all right, well, let me show you this. Let's ask this question.
I love that. And that reminds me of one of the oldest kind of fundamentals that speak to me, is that idea of Zen mind, beginner's mind.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in the beginner's mind, everything is possible. In the expert's mind, it's only what they know to be true, what they believe to be true.
Right.
That's where I want to stay. Like, I'm an apprentice. I am like, yeah, okay, a chef, maybe a maestro, a conductor, an instrument. I ain't the doer, especially when we're including the spiritual realm, but even not. The self is the doer.
Yeah.
The higher self, the divine spark, right? We're the facilitators. But this actually naturally brings us back to that piece I bookmarked, if you're open to that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
From earlier. Yeah. So I don't know how that even came up originally, but so some new higher sources that have sort of joined the party, so to speak, recently come out of Buddhist and Hindu traditions. So this is Tara, who's often thought of as like equivalent to like a Kuan Yin, like a goddess of compassion in the Buddhist tradition. And then Shiva and Vishnu from the Hindu tradition. So the preserver and the destroyer. Not destruction for destruction's sake, but to initiate rebirth and creation, right? Yeah, the cycles of life. But so I was in a session recently where, so Tara's come in a handful of times for clients, for people, along with Mary always. And I've gotten a few channeled transmissions from her as well in my own time. That's not something that happens while I'm working with people. That's in my own time. So during this session recently, where it seemed like Tara was, as kind of usual, more hanging back. It was more Mary doing the work when the two of them have come in for people, whether it's more kind of parts work leaning or more just purely transpersonal, where Mary's got the wheel and they're initiating some kind of messaging, downloading, healing, alchemy. It could be anything, right? But trying to stick with the point. During this session, during a particularly quiet section where I was hearing nothing from the client, just observing and holding space, and can see that they're in their work, no need for me to butt in. Mm-hmm. I got this strong intuition of that I was being told that Tara is an apprentice in this to Mary. She's apprenticing. And I was like, why am I thinking, is that a down? I'm often not sure. I have to sort of check this holy discernment to get just the quick yes and no. And it was, oh yeah, this is being downloaded to you. This is messaging right now. So I thought, how fascinating. Tara is apprenticing to Mary. So, and then a couple days later, whatever, I got a channel transmission from her where she basically says, yes, you got that right. I wanted you to know that this is why I'm not so active yet. I'm still learning the way that you and Mary do what you do, and what's the best way to bring my energy and my light forward. But, put your seatbelt on, because once I got it figured out, I'll come in with the bigger guns or something like that. But this is just to say, if a divine being, supreme being, a deity, however you want to think of them, they're still in Zen mind, beginner's mind. Mm-hmm. They're still apprenticing. They're still learning. Then shouldn't we be forever?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we be wise to hold that?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that story, and I want to share a brief one also, real quick, which is to your point. I've in IFS work for clients that are more open to it. They get in touch with darker entities and guides, and
right.
And I also have it's just a knowing. It's sort of like any part of Robin as a ego, or that would be like, wait, but that can't be right. But it becomes deferential.
Wait, who is it that's saying any part of Robin right now?
Yes. So I'm saying the anything that would want to challenge the usual mode of doing or figuring out or understanding or knowing, that gets superseded by intuition, where this
Right.
guide is like, I'm like, it's kind of like what you were saying, like step back, don't butt in. Like they're in their work and you know it. Yeah. And but then something goes off a little bit, and then it becomes clear, let's check that out. And it's
Totally.
an example, it's an example of observing the hierarchy that appears to be in the spiritual realm with these healing beings, where I'll just use the word angel. I don't know if it was an angel. I'm just going to use that word as a construct for people to imagine an angel who's training another angel, the apprentice of the angel. And so you can see that the apprentice guide unintentionally a little bit clumsy. And so you can see that there's some jumping in, but only to just ask the client to ask, hey, check that out. And then that other one kind of defers, and its boss comes in and finishes the job or whatever. So I've seen it happen in the session where they were not parts of the client. If they did not appear to be.
Right.
And with that sort of understanding, I was like, what, right. If that master apprentice and hierarchy of student and teacher is in the other realms, like,
yes,
I assume,
absolutely.
It's to your point, I guess, it's giving us permission of being forever white belts, being forever
completely
beginner's mind.
Completely. And since you're bringing up the bit about dark entities and critters and unattached burdens and all that, which I think of usually as like parasitic kind of egregores, lower astral gobbledygook. But often with one person in particular that I work with a lot, we've encountered a lot of like dark ancestral, what I think of as almost like phantasms that come up naturally within her. So as you know, just like yourself, is very impacted by Bob's Falconer's The Others Within Us.
Yeah.
That book. With this one particular person I'm thinking of right here, just a few weeks ago. So let me preface this with saying, if I feel or someone comes to me thinking I'm basically being oppressed or have been infiltrated, I have some dark energy with me, there's something with me that's not me, fortunately, within 5 seconds, I can get a confirmation of yes or no, that's the case, or it's not the case. Mm-hmm. Very often it's not the case, no matter how a person convinced it is. And that usually, in my experience, bears out. We can find the part, or whatever it might be, ancestral loading, that to that person they're thinking is like, oh, I'm under psychic attack, right? Mm-hmm. I'm finding that a lot. But so this is to say that with this discernment that I can use to determine that, often when I'm working with attachments, let's just say with people, we have identified what it is beforehand, what age it came in, what were the circumstances, just using the guidance that created the opening for it. And then we set up a dedicated session, bring Mary in, and it's just easy work for her. But there are some exceptions, more along the sort of Falconer way of discovering these things, where they come up within the work, usually the more standard IFS work. You encounter something that it starts to occur to you probably isn't a part or might not be, and you use your discernment on how to identify that. That came up, that's less often how it comes up for me, but it still does. And a couple of weeks ago, with this one individual that I'm doing a lot of deep, intense work, very IFS, but also with Mary and others, we were working with a couple of young parts that were just, like many of her parts, just in profound pain and really feeling like they're either dead or they should be dead, or wanting the client to die. Really, really just painful, dark stuff, all coming from early life experience and ancestral loading. And while we're working with these two parts, she encounters something else that seems like it's wanting to stop the whole thing, shut it down. So we do what we do with that. We turn toward what's in the way. And I went in not having any sense that this might not be a part. But lo and behold, when this thing started telling her, I'm going to kill you right now. Okay, no positive intention there underlying. So confirmed it again. And then Mary's was with us. And we basically did what we normally do, told this thing, you know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah.
Your time is up. You have a chance here with Mother Mary to go to the light, to be forgiven and healed. Or you can choose otherwise. It's up to you. And it actually chose to go with Mary.
That's great.
Which, if you had told me to guess in the moment, I would have guessed it's going to say, screw you.
Right. Yeah. No, that goes back to the free will thing. You know, these beings appear to have free will. And I love that. I use that with clients all the time. I say, you know how at the bar at 2 a.m. they say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's like same principles are true, you know, with the boundaries of the heart mind and everything. This idea that that they're busted. Once the system knows that they don't belong, they're busted. And they can't stay.
The jig is up, right?
Yeah, exactly. So all right, so let me ask here. I know that I'm clear on it, but I know that we're limited on time. I want to ask you, do we have enough time to shift into a mini demo of sorts? What do you think, Chris?
Well, what time do you want to go to? It's 1:22 where I am right now.
I have until the end of the hour. That's why I wanted to ask,
Okay.
because usually standard time is like an hour, but I have done brief stuff in consultation groups, and I know it's possible. I just want to, if you're comfortable with it, I am. It's up to you.
No, I am. Let me just sort of get a quick check on it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Mary's here for it. And I'm just going to confirm what I got earlier that I shared with you before you hit record, that if you're open to it and your system allows it, if it's all a green light and a yes, she's got a little intention for you. Yeah. Okay. So same thing. So we have the time. Shall we shift into it now?
Shifting. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So
would you like me to sort of guide you in the normal way that I would, or do you want to just go in on your own?
I'll go in on my own. I have a part that names that it's okay. It's releasing the attachment to wanting to, it seeds like, oh, that's right, I was going to talk with Chris about parts companion or whatever, but it's like, there'll be other time for that, really. And it's only naming that to kind of the continuity of, if people are curious, they can go back to our first conversation in which you did this demo, because I have clarity on wanting to work with that same 12-year-old part that I've been able to keep up with through the Parts Companion platform.
Cool.
And it's a part that's weary of Mary, doesn't exactly trust Mary. And I have just the final thing this narrator storyteller wants to say is there are other parts that have had very positive experiences with Mary. You know, 15-year-old older adolescents that are like, oh yeah, we've gone into the woods with her and she became a rose and we absorbed her love. And, you know, so other parts are very open to her. It's just this 12-year-old that's like, kind of like arms crossed, like,
right.
You'll get hurt. You'll get disappointed, that stuff. So
got it. Okay. So
are we
likely going to be with that 12-year-old right here in this?
Who knows? That's my intention, and my storyteller reporter part doesn't feel any attachment or need to contextualize or give other background.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we find. So yeah, Mary is officially in the field with us.
So, Chris, what I'm noticing is I'm back in the place where I've connected with other parts of me that carry that sort of spiritual hesitancy or spiritual pain of being betrayed or let down or having been lied to. So it's at the church that I went to as a child.
Right.
And it's sort of, there's this like room where like, not during worship, but like afterwards, where they have like snacks and drinks, refreshments and stuff. Like it's like that room. And
Yeah.
there's a stage, and I've got like some parts of me that are sitting with their legs dangling off the stage, and my older brother's there. He's like high school aged.
Yeah.
And my parents are there too.
Okay.
And they're also like the younger version of like, not as many gray hairs. So it's like those are the presences, and I'm there with them.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm just going to have you feel into what's needed.
Yeah. So I feel um the I don't feel tears in my eyes, but I feel like if we want to use a volume knob, like 0 to 10, like
Yeah.
the sense and the felt sensation of like tears are coming. They're just
Right.
being slightly dialed up. And I know I
Yeah.
know that I have a modulator part as well that like is
Right.
very active on like buffering how much it lets all that in.
Got it. Yeah. Right. So I'm curious about what is their openness to as far as Mary's presence.
Yeah. Immediately, other parts that were not named a moment ago
Right.
are they also want to come into the space and like be on the record,
Yeah.
not in a elbow twisting way or anything like that, but
Yeah.
like they're like, she loves us and we love her, and we're so grateful for her eternal presence.
Right.
They're not trying to be provocative, but they just kind of want to be acknowledged and known by the others in the room.
Love it. Okay. So if that feels to you like a kind of a yes or a green light for you to make initial, more direct contact with Mary, that's what we could open up to right here. So it's as alive and perceivable as possible. And the way for that really is just, it's not to seek for her. She's here. It's just to open up space.
That's right. She's actively being blocked by and I realized I didn't name her in the church room
Right.
explicitly, but absolutely I feel her presence. She's actively being blocked by the kids on the stage with their legs dangling
Right.
off. And so I feel
Good.
open. I feel drawn to those kids.
Okay.
Um,
To go towards them.
yeah, again, just to
Yeah.
see what they need right now.
Right. Love it.
And what's interesting is they're not the 12-year-old. They're younger.
Okay.
They're younger.
Yeah.
And the tears that I was feeling earlier, they're
Yeah.
like little minimal, like level 1, level 2 out of 10 tears
Right. Right.
seemed to be coming from the 12-year-old, not from these kids.
Got it. Okay. How you feeling toward the 12-year-old?
Just loving and
Good.
kind of almost equally curious just about what he needs, but that really I'm drawn towards the little ones on the stage. And
Yeah.
my parents are also there in a very non-agended way. They're kind of like even though they're still alive, they hold the presence of like proud ancestors. So they're just kind of there.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
great, great. Excellent. Love it. Yeah, just, I trust you know what to do with it here. Does the 12-year-old need to be heard or need more contact with you or
He heard you ask that question,
okay.
and he's like, what's making me chuckle is he goes, go to the little ones. But
Uh
but I also take that to be a deflection. Like,
right,
like,
right.
like I don't, they could do the work today, not me.
Right, right.
So I
Okay.
really can feel like I can kind of sort of see
Yeah.
clearly his redirecting me in a way to
Yep.
take the attention off of him, even though he's still got stuff,
Got it. Okay.
which I respect. Um,
Totally. Yeah, no pressure, of course. So you're gonna go to the little ones?
yeah, I'm over there by the
Cool.
stage.
Right.
Mm. Okay, so this is familiar. I've journaled about this. There is a so funny. I mentioned his name earlier in our conversation.
Yeah.
Um, there's a Richard Dawkins.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I remember that part.
yeah, well, he's actually, there's been some progress over the months since we last did this work, and he's
Right.
less of a part like a council of atheists.
Okay.
He's actually, I can see him more clearly as just like the disembodied. It's like um
Hmm.
a comic book animation of Richard Dawkins as a kind of a distort. It's not really the guy. It's not the guy. It's 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 like a caricature, just a floating head of like
Got it.
what we might see as like evil energy, but he's not scaring anyone. He's not scaring anyone here. Not the kids, not me, but he's
Right.
like, so he's like, it's not a fair representation of him. I can feel like I have an advocate that wants to protect Richard Dawkins' reputation right now. I'm asking that guy to chill out. Yeah, totally.
Right.
It's okay. But just for you to know, that's what's there.
Got it.
So he's like floating, and
Okay.
he's like
Yeah.
snickering. He's like snickering like a
Yeah.
cheap Halloween ornament on your front porch or something. But he's this
Got it.
floating apparition.
That's right. Yeah, like an artifact. Apparition.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of akin to what I was saying. I often think of as like a phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine as long as you're not fearful of it or annoyed with it or
I'm
other
surprised.
part.
No, and I'm
Instinct-
surprised that the little kids aren't scared of that.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to. I don't even know if they know about him.
Right. Okay. Maybe they don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're keeping your focus with them still?
I kind of got distracted by the
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna go back to them.
Okay.
Okay. I get it. It makes okay. So they're the little ones in me. They are pre the like betrayal and being lied to about God's love or God's existence. So these little ones
Yeah.
are still connected to God and
Right.
feel that. So the 12-year-old's actually keeping his distance from them and makes himself known as like, yeah, like poor them. They don't, you know, they're
Right.
still in the delusion, right? Is what
Right.
that's why, yeah. So they're actually, just want to check real quick.
Yeah.
See, they seem calm as clams, like they're doing some like cross making activity. Like they actually don't seem like they need any check-in or anything. I was
Yeah.
drawn to them.
Got it. Okay.
So actually
Yeah.
get more of an intuition to come over to the 12-year-old.
Okay. Great.
And I'm also noticing Mary's more present now. Sort of,
Yeah,
she's like, she's not the building, but her presence is all around, and
that's right.
but actively being blocked out by the Dawkins phantasm and the 12-year-old,
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
and a little bit by my dad, actually.
Oh,
Which is,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
that it.
Yeah, so this is a good example in a way of how, as I think I put it earlier, like she's never going to storm the gates.
That's right.
Yep. She's there. Yeah.
What's interesting is the 12-year-old doesn't really want the phantasm. The 12-year-old's aware of the Dawkins energy,
Yep.
and he like doesn't really want to be associated with it,
Yeah.
but he also doesn't want the Mary energy either.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Would you be curious to ask him what does he think would happen if there were more Mary energy present, or
Yeah, I can ask him that.
yeah.
He says it's not true.
What's not true?
He says Mary energy. He says nothing's going to happen.
Oh, because she's not real, you mean?
Right, exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right. That's fine. Yeah. Well, I guess we could say if that's true, that she's not real or true, then there could be no harm of you inviting her in further. That's up to you.
I'm just feeling love towards your
Uh-huh.
presence, Chris.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Um, and checking in with him, and
Right.
he's sort of like, he's not annoyed by you, he's annoyed by that premise.
Yes, I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. So he's like, well, yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, there's no pressure, but I'm kind of asking him, sort
Right.
of you asked, and he can hear you, and so he hears like the invitation from you, so to speak, but I'm
Right.
gonna ask him also,
Do it.
just to see if he's up for it.
Totally.
Okay, so so his response is, I'm concerned about that. So even though he like intellectually knows, he's like, well, if she's not real, then there wouldn't be any harm in
Right.
running that experiment. He's
Right.
he's cautious. He's weary of being hurt. It's like there's this inner knowing inside of him.
Yeah.
I'm speculating. That's maybe a part of me, but I'm trying to advocate for what he like, to articulate his hesitancy. His apprehension is like, well, if I run this experiment and let her in, then
Yeah.
I'll touch that pain or that hurt.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. So we appreciate that.
And he doesn't, it doesn't seem like he's protecting, like he's a protector protecting a younger exile.
Right.
If that is true, that's the exile inside of him. It's
Right.
this like hurt of his own.
Mm-hmm.
His story is, he's like, I found out God wasn't real when I was 8.
Yeah. Got it. Wow.
And that hurt so much.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, even though logically you're like, well, if she's not real, then like there should be no harm here. He's like, not so fast.
That's
Like,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Because he has felt that he's been harmed.
that's right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Okay. Absolutely.
And I feel so much compassion in my heart towards him as I
Right.
like hear all that being named. and his presence of his very real pain that I can feel.
Totally. Right.
And those tears, the dials like coming up to a 3, and that modulator part. The modulator part is like the mixer on the soundboard. He's like,
right.
he's keeping it from going up any further.
Yeah, that's right. Right. It
But
might
I
be
feel,
good. Yeah, sorry. Did you want to finish that thought?
I just said, but I feel it. I feel those, like, they're not tears in
Yeah,
my eyes, but I feel the like the
got it.
tide is coming up, you know.
That's right. And since you know how to do this work with your own system, it might be good to let him know, with respect to that hurt that he just acknowledged he's carrying, that you can help him with it. Maybe not this minute here today, but you can come back to him with that. Learn more about it from him.
Yeah, he's in a lot of pain right now.
Right. Yeah, we're getting that, aren't we?
Yeah.
How close are you to him?
Yeah, I appreciate that question because wasn't really conscious of it.
Yeah,
He's like maybe 4 or 5 feet away on my right. He's kind of standing on the right side with my parents.
got it.
My brother's somewhere else in the room. I don't know where he is, but like, you know, the kids are like 12 o'clock on stage, and then
Yeah.
like he's over here at like 4 o'clock. And my
Okay.
parents are like 2:30. And so he's
Right.
4 or 5 feet away from me.
Okay. So keeping that sense in mind that you picked up that he's in a lot of pain, I just wonder if he might be open to you closing the gap, just being there close with him for a bit, if that feels right.
Yeah, I feel a governor. So I feel absolutely the kind of going over to him and his openness to kind of leaning his head on my shoulder, and kind of in this like relief way of like I don't
Yeah.
have to hold any outward positions. Like I don't have to maintain my public stance on my conflict around betrayal pain with divine separation. He's just like wants to lean on me, but I feel a governor here. This is the kind of thing
Yeah.
I'll get spun up real quick, so I'll just want to
Right.
maintain going slow here.
Right.
I'll name this governor that others have talked about when doing this work in a sort
Yeah.
of a format that I know is being broadcast, as opposed to like a private session where I can choose whether or not it goes public.
Yeah.
So that governor is
Yeah.
very real and is here right now,
Right.
as I'm experiencing this sort of tender
Yeah.
letting down of the guards from this 12-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I've done many things in this way, in this work, and I'm sort of, maybe for the audience's purpose, I'm like letting them know if they weren't listening to this conversation, this governor wouldn't be here.
Right.
And this and the sound guy would turn all the tears up to 10 right now. So
right.
but I can feel his lowering his guard, and he is on my shoulder and
Beautiful.
connecting with me.
Great. Beautiful. Felt sense connection. Yeah. And when you have time, right, you can pick back up with him and keep giving him what he needs.
Yeah, and just for folks listening, like I can feel the when the tears come, they also, like, my throat closes, and
Right.
that tension that comes up of like letting it out and then not wanting to let it out, right? So
right.
that's all somatically here, and it's his pain.
Totally. You feeling it. Yeah. Make sure he knows, I'd say, that you're feeling that.
Yeah.
That tension, that pain that he's been carrying. And you're willing to and able to feel it with him.
I'm letting him know that, and I'm also letting him know that there isn't any judgment about how he navigated that that response or reaction to
Right.
quote unquote having been lied to.
Absolutely.
There's no judgment.
None. Hold him harmless. Exactly.
And also I want to just let people know that the Mother Mary energy is still kind of like flowing around. It's like going around my dad, but it's permeating a little bit more into this 12-year-old guy, this middle schooler.
Interesting. And I would assume that he's okay with that.
He's that the 12-year-old's okay with that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's kind of saying like, I'm the one allowing.
Right.
Right. It's not being imposed.
Great.
So
it's real
like,
to him.
It's very real to him. And that's the dynamic shift in just the contact with him.
Yes. Love it.
But it's not permeating it's not like entering him. It's just allowed to come closer, like the tide. It's allowed to get closer.
Exactly. Yes.
So he's very much releasing, and he's sobbing.
Wow. Great. Just be with them the way you own them. Yeah.
There's sort of the there's this like, it's like a blend of relief and grief of the sort of pain that came with living those 4 years in doubt,
Right.
in questioning.
Right. Yeah. How about that? You understand that? You get it?
Absolutely. This is it's very similar to how other protectors in my system kind of, they felt that healing when they were aware, oh, self's here, like, oh man.
Yeah.
There's sort of like a, I can tell my energy gets like easily spun up at it, but just to name it simply, it's this like alternate timeline grief. It's like, well, we were here in this suffering way, and it could, if that separation had never happened, we wouldn't have experienced all this pain. So there's this like lamenting or grieving of like what could have been without all that.
Got it. Yes.
In the same way that protectors in other areas of my system and my life kind of grieve.
Yeah. Totally. A lot to honor there.
I'm conscious of time, even though I haven't looked at the clock, and I'm gonna let him know that I'll come back to this place.
Yeah.
And he can do this we can keep this connection, like if he wants to stay here in the church, or if we want to go somewhere else, it's up to him.
Totally. Perfect.
And interesting. So he's clear on that. And the Dawkins phantasm is like, it was like a non-play. There's a video game term. Like he's like
NPC. Yeah.
But I would have expected like like when this is happening, I would have expected the Dawkins head to get all mad and like, he just seemed very impotent, just like a little one-dimensional.
Interesting. Flat. Yeah.
Like a fly that's annoying you. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, so where does your little one want to be? Does he want to stay there or go elsewhere?
He actually wants to go out on the playground, still on the grounds of the church, but like just away from like my parents and my brother, and like he just wants to go outside.
Got it. Yeah.
That's where I can check in with him later.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
And again, just for listeners, like the church, that playground's been demolished, but like in time, like it's there. Like when he was 12, that's where we're going. Like
it's still there. That's
yes,
where it is. Perfect.
Right.
Great. Okay, so you know where to find him, right? Okay. I always ask this usually at the end. Did you want to just ask inside any comments, questions, concerns about what took place today?
There's a follow-up about my dad. Like it's like a field of flow, and to know that it didn't flow in him, and that's interesting. So there's curious. There's like a bookmarking that just to So not a concern, but there's an open line of inquiry about that.
Yeah.
But this felt like a very contained kind of subsystem. The other, like my brother wasn't even really aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
Same with the little kids. The little kids were just like folding crosses so it really felt a little more intimate. Like people were there, but Mary was very aware of everything happening.
Yes. Yes.
But no concerns or questions apart from that.
Okay. Yeah. Just things for you to be curious about and come back to.
Yes.
Beautiful. Nicely done.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, my pleasure. That was thoroughly enjoyable.
And to talk about it in this context, not a standard therapy sessions don't happen in the middle of a podcast that's going out in the public. So very interesting to notice that I had this, not the modulator part, but a different governor part.
Yeah.
That is like, it's not even in a training where you're in front of a group, like still not a podcast going out into the internet forever, right? Like there's a governor that was like, we're gonna. And I remember doing some work with Bob, and he was like, you can record it, but don't commit to it being published. Like check in with your system and see, because it'll limit the work. And it's exactly right. Because I know this is going out. There's nothing. My post-production editor doesn't want to do any of this editing business. So that was interesting. There's one other thing. Usually there isn't the presence of the audience in mind, people watching and listening. There's like a teacher part that's like wants to help orient people. Like, hey, this is also going. Sometimes that happens with like the clinician wants to orient the clinician, like, oh, these are the things that are changing. But it was very conscious of our audience, which is not present during a usual therapy session.
Yes, not typically. Yes. It's a weird little universe here to do this within, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it makes sense that there's this specific governor, kind of like a limiter, that would be, right? Yeah. So the governor was not wanting you to go too much further with that little one into emotionally loaded territory.
I guess it was like, we know what happens when this healing process goes on.
Got
And it
it.
was like, we're not going to do that part
Got it.
in the middle of a podcast or the
Totally.
tail end of a podcast. So, and it's interesting too, because like, yeah, the modulator, I use the analogy of a soundboard. It's like the governor is definitely higher up. The sound guy is not like the owner of the event or whatever. You know what I mean? So the governor has hierarchy, has like the more of the boss card.
Yeah.
But they seem to kind of have similar roles of constraining, right?
Oh yeah. Same group probably, right?
Yeah.
A group think, group aims. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Neat. So you had a sense of Mary's kind of, you said floating, hovering, just being around, but never, not too hot, not too cold, always in the Goldilocks zone, right? Of what I think, to me, her knowing of what's needed, what's not, etc.
Yes, she was present. She could occupy any part of that room and the whole room all at once, but not occupy spaces in which she was actively kind of unwelcomed, you know, which is the 12-year-old. And not all of my dad, but there were like pockets. It's interesting. The visual is kind of like gold light particle flow, where the you know, like when like if like in a creek, like if there's just a creek with no rocks in the way, the creek just flows. But if there are rocks, then the stream bends, and it's like that, and it's like bending around a portion of my dad, and certainly wasn't encroaching on that little 12-year-old until it was. And it was, it's like, in a sense, he has his own sound guy and limiter, and he's like letting her more in.
Yeah. You know what else just occurred to me? Just speculating, wondering here. The bit where with the little ones, 8-year-old, did you say the little one was about?
No, they seemed younger. No, they were younger than 8. Oh,
I mean, the one that you were working with that had all the sadness, the main younger one.
Yes, it was like an 8-year-old inside of the 12-year-old.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the 8-year-old was because Mary's not real, you know, and then we had that whole sort of pretzel logic piece of, well, then it can't hurt you. Would you want to experience any of that?
Yeah, I don't know if, honestly, I don't know if that's the 8-year-old. That's the 12-year-old is the guy who's publicly saying Mary's not real, and the 8-year-old is the one that feels all the pain of, we were lied to.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So whether they're separate or part within a part, Russian doll, sometimes we just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't always matter as much as how we're being with them, right?
Yes.
But when that the information came out about that, the part that wound up sobbing with you, it made me then wonder if there might be shame about that or something like that, and that might have been part of the I can't have Mary any part of this. Can't have Mary's presence with this, or I'm going to get shamed or hurt further because of it. Totally speculating, just curiosity. So I've seen that come about at times when there is sort of fear or resistance to any of the higher sources that come in the work. It's the fear of, they're going to do to me what's been done to me by humans. Or by the conceptions that I was taught of God or different sources of God consciousness. If that makes sense, that's what I'm saying.
It does. It also connects to the impulse or the need to let him know there's no judgment.
Yes,
you know?
Good point. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. That was a good instinct. I often will just intuitively suggest to clients that they offer that to parts, that just in case you're concerned, there is no judgment. We hold you harmless, especially protectors that have gone a little little haywire with their roles, right?
Right. Well, there's the sense is very natural and organic. It's like I can sense that there's like anticipatory, it's shame and fear, and it's like kind of let you know, like out the gate, like whether he believes me or not is a different question.
Different animal, right?
He sort of seemed to, in that he was released. He wasn't tense. He wasn't maintaining a posture. He was like relaxing onto my shoulder, and
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool piece of work there, man.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you for your presence, Chris.
My pleasure. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure your listeners know it's ever unfolding, and you never know. It's like that box of chocolates. It's different every time in this weird inner world, right?
Yes, it is. And on that point, people should know, if they've already done this work or if they want to dabble in this work, you can't recreate. You can't be like, well, that's how it worked, so the next time I'm going to like do it that way. There are steps in the healing process that those steps can be the way, but to have an expectation that they need to kind of recreate, like lightning in a bottle or magic. I find anyway that trying to force that, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It has to be sort of novel. Truly just let it be natural. Don't force it.
Which really entails a kind of meta trusting of, as long as we're going in with self-energy in the IFS way of talking, or with allowance to that what comes up is what we're supposed to encounter, then it flows. It's like there can be no mistake. We don't get it wrong. We can get it wrong if we go in with rigidity or agenda and try to make something happen. Of course, we can get it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that's the whole art of it, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, Chris, I want to thank you once again, as always, for your time, your presence.
My pleasure.
I do have to go scoop kids up from camp. My wife was actually in a car accident today. So literally my vehicle, she's probably like, he said he'd be done by 3. But before we go, tell people where they can find you. What's your website? And you're not on social anymore, right?
I'm not. No, I had to get off of it. Just too distracting and too much noise. Therapyoutside-the-box.com. That's where to find me.
Okay, great.
And what about you, real quick? Where can people find you to work with you? I know you probably have some openings.
People, well, the Robin Smith show notes has links where they can book set.
Of course it does.
I appreciate your advocate, though.
You got it. Thanks, man.
Always good being with you. Thanks for coming on.
Ditto. My pleasure. Thank you.